little story about the identity theft. Years ago, my husband experienced identity theft, like not just credit card, not like somebody was just opening credit cards in his name, but actual identity theft. Somebody was running around in a city that we used to live in with a driver's license in his name, a social security card in his name. Even this person, knowing that my husband was a minister, had a fake minister's card made in his name. And he opened up credit cards all over the city. He was building a house. He was getting married. He was buying his wife jewelry. He was furnishing a house. He was putting electronics in the house. Tens of thousands of dollars were accruing in my husband's name. And so one day we get contacted by the creditors and they're like, why aren't you paying your bills? We're like, we always pay our bills. And they're like, no, you haven't paid this one. You haven't paid that one. We're like, that's not us. And they're like, is your social security number such and such? Yes. Well, these are your bills. So we had to go back and he had to file through the fraud agencies and all this kind of stuff. Well, one day this man that's out there went too far and he robbed a bank with a gun. He went in, he robbed a bank, jumped on his motorcycle, took off with some money. The police were chasing him down through the streets of the city. There was helicopters flying above and he skids out and he has a shootout with the police and nobody gets hurt, but the police take him into captivity and they actually arrest him in my husband's name. All of his documentation is that his name was Tom Hamon. And he had so deeply buried his true identity that when he was charged with the crime, he was charged in my husband's name. He was sentenced in my husband's name. He went to prison in my husband's name. Crazy. But while he was in prison, somebody came in and preached the gospel, and the guy got saved. He got filled with the Holy Spirit. He felt the call of God and decided from that point forward that whether he was in prison or out of prison, he was going to preach the gospel for the rest of his life. So I guess the moral of the story is be careful of whose identity you steal. Okay. Because the guy, I guess the angels marked him. I don't know what happened there. But listen, how frustrating is it to have somebody running around using your name, misrepresenting you, who you really are? Think how the Lord feels when we take his name and we go live lives that have no reflection of who he is. See, the enemy's been perpetrating identity theft against the church for a long time. And I just really believe that we need to get it in our heads that God is on our side, that we have nothing to fear. I mean, I dealt with fear a lot, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this later in the course, but I had terrible strongholds of fear in my life, and God brought me out of this. But here's the thing with fear is that the shame came in. Shame is an identity issue. See, certain circumstances will say, this is a problem, but shame says you're the problem. Okay. So shame kept me bound. Shame kept me silent, suffering with a stronghold of fear because I didn't know how to get free. And shame and pride partnered together. They're actually two sides of the same coin that kept me in a state of fear so that I could not get set free.